لقد يسرنا القرآن للذكر فهل من مدكر
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu Alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Tajweed Made Easy. This is your brother Abu Muhammad. In the last lesson, we started the sifat al-huruf, the characteristics of the letters. We found out that when it comes to characteristics of the letters, there are two groups. Characteristics that have opposites and characteristics that do not have opposites. And we started the characteristics that have opposites. Sifat laha did. And we looked at two groups of letters. And today, inshaAllah, we're going to look at the third group of letters in terms of the characteristics that have opposites. And this is the huruf al-isti'la, and the opposite side is huruf al-istifal. Huruf al-isti'la just means the permanent heavy letters. These letters, whenever we pronounce it in a heavy manner. So what does that mean? Imagine, here's the tongue. The back of the tongue will be elevated whenever we pronounce these letters. And huruf al-istifal, the tongue will not be elevated, but will be lowered whenever we pronounce these letters. And the third group, okay, this is in between huruf al-isti'la. Sometimes will be pronounced in a heavy manner, other times will be pronounced in a light manner. So the first group of letters, here huruf al-isti'la. The 7 letters, the Arabs, whenever they used to pronounce these 7 letters, they used to pronounce it in a heavy manner, by elevating the back of the tongue and putting pressure on the roof of the mouth. So instead of saying kha, they used to say kha, kha. Instead of saying sa, they used to say sa, sa. Ba, ba, ta, va, gha, and qa. So whenever these 7 letters are present with a fatha, kasra, or dhamma, then we pronounce these 7 letters in a heavy manner. Make the tongue thick, elevate back of the tongue, elevate it, put up, and put pressure on the roof of the mouth. So kha, sa, ba, ta, va, gha, and qa. Here, khalidina, so instead of saying khalidina fiha, we say kha, khalidina, khalidina. Here, sa, sal, sal, duriba, duriba, teen, teen, dhil, dhil, aghna, and qultum. Does this mean, so this is whenever it has fatha, kasra, dhamma, or sukoon, then we pronounce it heavy. Does it mean that with a fatha, kasra, dhamma, and sukoon, are they going to be in the same level? No, they're not going to be in the same level. When these 7 letters, when they have a fatha, they will be pronounced in the strongest manner, will be the heaviest. So for example, qaf with a fatha will be qala, qala, qala. If qaf has a dhamma, qulu, qulu, compare the two, qaf will be stronger than qulu. So if I say qulu, qulu, and qala, qala, qala is heavier, qala, qala, and qulu. We have to make sure that we have to be very careful that whenever we find a fatha, it should be the strongest manner. Dhamma, it should be just below the fatha, but it's still considered as a heavy letter. So here, qala, qulu. When it has a sukoon, the qaf has a sukoon. This is the third strongest. So aqwam, aqwam. So qulu, qulu will be stronger than aqwam. Whenever the 7 letters they have a kasra, this will be the least strongest. So this will be qila, qila. If I say qila, it's still considered as a heavy letter, but will be the lowest form of the heavy letters. So whenever we have a fatha on any of these letters, they will be pronounced in the heaviest manner. Then below that is a dhamma, then a sukoon, then a kasra. Now we have here these letters, the 3 letters that are the part-time heavy letter, part-time light letters. Okay, the scholars of the Quran did not give it a name, but just remember as part-time letters, part-time heavy and part-time light. This is alif, lam, the word Allah, and ra. We're going to do the first 2 now. Inshallah, at the end of the lesson, we're going to do the ra, because ra, there are different situations. The alif here, the alif has 2 situations. One when it's heavy, one when it's light. How do we know when to pronounce the alif when stretching in a heavy way, or the alif when stretching in a light way? If alif, okay, comes after one of these 7 letters, then the alif of stretching will be pronounced in a heavy way. So for example, there's a qaf here. Qaf is one of the heavy letters. So it will be qala, the stretching. Qa, the qa, qala will be pronounced in a heavy manner. If alif comes after the light letters, they'll be pronounced in a light manner. Mal, mal, not mal, but mal. The word Allah here, whenever when it comes to lam, only the word Allah, not the general lam, only lam, the word of Allah, we look at the letter before the word Allah. If the letter before Allah is a fatha or kasra, for example here, is a fatha here, okay, the letter before Allah is a fatha, we pronounce it in a heavier. So, huwallahu, qul huwallah, huwallah, we put pressure. Or with the dhamma, so letter before Allah has a dhamma, nasrullahi, nasrullahi. Now, when does it become light? Whenever the letter before the word Allah has a kasra, for example, dinillah, you make the word Allah in a light manner. Dinillah, not dinillah, but dinillah. So two situations, fatha dhamma, heavy, kasra, light. And the rest of the letters are permanent light letters. Whenever it has fatha, kasra, dhamma, or sukun, they'll be pronounced in a light manner. So for example, the sheen here, sharri, we pronounce in a light manner, sha, and not sha. If I say sha, I'll be elevating the roof of the mouth and putting pressure. We don't want that. So it's not sha, but sha, sharri, sharri. Next one, abasa, not abasa, but abasa, sharri, abasa, maliki, ma, not ma, but maliki, and wa, waswas, not waswas. So these letters, the rest of the letters. So we have here 7 letters, 3 letters. The rest of the letters are called the huruful istifal. Okay, now we're going to look at the ra and all its situations. Now on the board here, we have the ra, the rules of ra. Ra has 14 different situations. 8 of the situations we pronounce ra in a heavy manner. 4 of the situations we pronounce ra in a light manner. 2 situations we can do either. So when we pronounce ra in a heavy manner, there are 8 different situations. Number 1, when ra has a fatha. If ra has a fatha, we don't need to look at what's before it or what's after it. We automatically pronounce in a heavy manner. Ra, 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 and not ra. So this will be Ramadan, Ramadan. Next one, when ra has a dhamma, same thing. We don't need to look at what's before or what's after. So rusul, rusul, rusul. That's pronouncing it heavy. When ra has a sukun, we have to look at the previous letter. If the previous letter has a fatha, so ra has a sukun, previous letter has a fatha, like the word wanhar, we're going to pronounce ra in a heavy manner. Wanharu, wanharu, wanhar. When ra has a sukun, situation number 4. When ra has a sukun, we look at the previous letter. If the previous letter has a dhamma, then we're going to pronounce ra in a heavy manner. Like the word Quran. Al-Quran, Al-Quran. Not Quran, Quran, but Quran, Quran. Situation number 5. When ra has a sukun, we look at the previous letter. If the previous letter has a sukun, we look at the previous letter. If it has a fatha, then we pronounce ra in a heavy manner. The word wal-asr, for example. Wal-asr is, in fact, the ra has a kasra because we're stopping, then this is considered as a sukun. So, wal-asr, wal-asr. When ra has a sukun, situation number 6, we look at the previous letter. If he has a sukun, we look at the previous letter to that. If he has a dhamma, then we pronounce the ra in a heavy manner. So, khusr, khusr, we pronounce ra in a heavy manner. Situation number 7, if ra has a sukun, the previous letter has a kasra, then we look at the letter after ra. If it's from the heavy letter, H for heavy letter, there's a fatha or dhamma and not kasra, then we pronounce ra in a heavy manner. So mirsad, mir, mirsad. Next one. If ra has a sukun, previous to that is aliful wasl, the connecting alif, then this, because of the connecting alif, we're going to pronounce ra in a heavy manner. So irji'i, irji'i, irji'i. So these are the 8 situations. Now let's go to the light letters. When ra has a kasra, we don't need to look at what's before, what's after. Automatically, it should be pronounced in a light manner. So, al-rih, al-rih, not al-rih, al-rih, but al-rih, al-rih. Next situation, if ra has a sukun, we look at the previous letter. If he has a kasra, then we pronounce ra in a light manner. Fir'aun, fir, not fir, but fir, fir'aun. The situation number 3, if ra has a sukun, we look at the previous letter. If he has a sukun, we look at the letter before that. If he has a kasra, then we pronounce it in a light manner. Hijr, hijr, not hijr, but hijr, hijr. Situation number 4. If ra has a sukun, previous letter to that is a ya sakina. Ya sakina. Previous to that is a letter that has a fatha, like the word khair or dair. We pronounce the ra in a light manner. Khair, khair, dair, and so on. And the 2 situations when ra is pronounced, none can be pronounced either. If ra has a sukun, previous to that, letter has a kasra, and after the ra letter is a heavy letter that has a kasra, like the word firq. Firq, this situation, only one situation, one word in the Quran, the word firq. When we continue, the word firq, not stopping, when we're continuing, we can do either. When we're stopping, it will come under this category. But when we continue, we can do either. So we can say firqin, firqin, or firqin, firqin. We can do either. That's number one. Second situation, if ra has a sukun, previous to that, a letter that has a sukun, which is from the 7 heavy letters, sad, for example, here, then and we're stopping here, we can stop it in 2 ways, in a heavy manner or light manner. So we can say misr, misr, that's heavy, or misr, misr, that's light. So 2 situations we can do either. So ra has 14 situations in total. 8 of them we pronounce in a heavy manner, 2 of them we can do either, 4 we do it in a light manner. So now we did the huruf al-istifal and huruf al-isti'la and huruf al-istifal. Insha'Allah, in the next lesson we're going to look at the last pair, which is al-infitah and al-itbaq. We'll find out which letters, insha'Allah, in the next lesson and how to apply those rules. Until then, jazakumullah khairan. Wassalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.